Hello, sports fans and baseball fans of Strat-O-Matic. Today I've got a 1976 game for you with the brand new 1976 set that I ordered. And today we're going to have a mismatch game. We're going to take the 1976 Reds and roll them into Montreal to take on the 76 Expos. The Expos in 1976, well, they won 65 games. Not very good. The Reds, the big red machine of 1976, though, won the World Series. I believe they won the World Series. So, yeah, and you can tell just by looking at these lineups that it's a mismatch, but we're going to play it anyway because you know how the expression goes, that's why they play the games. So we're going to see what happens. Pitching today for the Expos will be Woody Fryman, and the Expos are at home. And on the mound for the Reds will be Big Jack Billingham. So we're in Montreal. Montreal is a single for the ballpark. They're a single versus lefties, or with a left-handed hitter, 1-19, and a right-handed hitter is 1-11. For home runs, a left-handed hitter is a 1-8, and a right-handed hitter is a 1-5. So that'll suppress the home runs a little bit, but the base hits should be fine. We'll go over the Reds lineup. The Reds will line up with Cesar Geronimo leading off and playing center field, followed by Pete Rose at third base, then Ken Griffey in right, Joe Morgan at second base will bat cleanup, George Foster the left fielder, Tony Perez the first baseman, Johnny Bench, the catcher. Then they'll have Dave Concepcion at short, and then, of course, Billingham batting ninth. For the Expos, they will line up as, well, we'll get to the Expos when they come up. But right now, you got Geronimo facing Fryman. And that is a 2-11, and he is a lefty facing a lefty, and that's going to be a fly ball left field B. One away. And Pete Rose is the next batter. He gets a 4-11. A 4-11. He is a switch hitter, so he is batting right. And 4-11 is a fly ball to the left fielder, X. The left fielder for the Expos is Del Unser, and he's a 2. And that is a 2. So 2 and 2 on the outfield. I'm not too confident this is going to be an out, but maybe it will be. It isn't. It's a single. So Pete Rose ripping a single, and he is aboard with 1 out. Which brings up Ken Griffey. Ken Griffey gets a 5-6. He is a lefty. So that is going to be a single double asterisk. So Pete Rose goes to third, and Griffey gets a base hit. And they have runners at the corners with 1 down, and Joe Morgan up. Joe Morgan gets a 3-8. He is a lefty going up against a lefty, and that is going to be a walk to load the bases. So, bases loaded, only 1 out here. Fryman already in trouble. And George Foster is the batter, and he gets a 1-10 against a left-handed pitcher, and that is going to be a possible ballpark single, and that is a 12. He is a right-handed batter, and that is going to be just out of the range, and so what happens on that is instead of a single, he gets a line out, or wait a minute, he gets a line out to second base. So, 2 down, bases full, bases juiced, and here comes Tony Perez. And he gets a 1-2, which is a hit by pitch, and knocks in a run. And true to form in the blowout game theme that we have here, it's already 1-0 Reds in the first inning with Johnny Bench up. And he gets a 6-12, and 6-12 versus a lefty, that's going to be a hit by pitch plus injury, and it's a 20. So Johnny Bench is gone, but he did force in another run. And Dave Concepcion is the batter. And he gets a 1-8, and a 1-8 against a lefty is going to be a strikeout. So finally the carnage ends, but not before the Reds strike for 2 runs. But they have to replace their catcher Johnny Bench because he is gone for a good long time. And we will go through here and see who the replacement is. You know, and I almost said I'm not going to play every one of their great players, and you know, so would have potentially sat him, but I didn't. And that's going to be Bill Plummer. Bill Plummer will be the new catcher for the Reds. Bill Plummer in 1976 hit .248 with 4 home runs in 153 at bats. And he has a 0 arm, so not as good defensively, certainly, but maybe, and really not really offensively either, although his batting average was higher than Bench's. And that's going to bring up the Expos, trying to equal it up here and batting against Jack Billingham. And the lineup for the Expos will be Valentine, Ellis Valentine in center field. Wayne Garrett, I think that is. Yeah, Wayne Garrett at second base. Andre Thornton in right field. Williams, let's see. What Williams is that? Earl Williams, that's what I thought. Earl Williams at first base. Larry Parrish at third. Del Unser in left. Tim Foley, who would go on to fame 3 years later on the We Are Family Pirates, world champions, and Barry Foote is the catcher, with Fryman batting ninth, although he may be out way before he gets a chance to bat. Ellis Valentine is up. He gets a 6-8. He is a righty against a righty, and that is going to be a ground ball third base, 1 away. Which brings up Wayne Garrett. Wayne Garrett gets a 6-8. Lefty against a righty. That's going to be a fly ball center field, B. And Andre Thornton. Andre Thornton getting a 1-6 against a righty, and that is going to be a pop out. Pop out to short. And they go really quick in the first. And up come the Reds. The first batter for the Reds will be Jack Billingham. They almost batted around in the first inning, but not quite. They have a 2-0 lead here in the second, and it is a 5-7. And that is going to be, he is a right-handed batter. 5-7 is a strikeout, so he does strike out. Bringing up Cesar Geronimo. Back to the top of the order, and Geronimo, he gets a 5-2. That is, he is a lefty, and that is going to be a fly ball center field, 2 away. And Pete Rose, the batter. And he gets a 6-10. 6-10, he is batting, he's a switch hitter, so he is batting right. And 6-10 is a ground ball third base X. The third baseman for the Expos is Larry Parrish, and he is a 4, and that is a 6. That's probably going to be a base hit. That would be my guess. No, we have to look in the thing. So we have to look down in the bottom for the error ratings. So he is an error 28. And so we'll roll the dice again. That is a 7. 7 on a 28 is going to be an E1. So he makes a 1-base error, Parrish does, and they do have a batter aboard. Which brings up Ken Griffey. And when I was doing the lineups, I almost said Ken Griffey Jr., because that's the one I was remembered more. 1-7 against a left-handed pitcher, and that is a walk. So there's 2 guys on after 2 quick outs. Fryman almost was off the hook, but Joe Morgan is up and has something to say about it. 5-9, he's a lefty against a lefty, and that's going to be a strikeout. So Joe Morgan goes down and strikes, and the Big Red Machine does get nothing in the second, so it is still 2-0. The Expos are still technically in this game, and Earl Williams is up. He gets a 6-12. He is a righty, batting against a righty, and that is going to be a ground ball to the shortstop. Bringing up Larry Parrish. Loved Larry Parrish. 5-7. Righty against a righty. And that is going to be a strikeout. So Larry Parrish strikes out, and Del Unser is up. Del Unser with the 4-10. He is a lefty, and he is going to get a possible ballpark single. It is a 6. It is going to be a base hit for Del Unser. So they have a base runner. Potentially their first of the game. Del Unser aboard, and Tim Foley, the shortstop, batting. He gets a 4-6, and he is a righty, and that is going to be a single. And it's a single 1-14, so he can't advance. It's a partial single. I like to call it a partial single, but it is a single. And with 2 on and 2 down, I believe we have, right? Yep. We have Barry Foote up. 6-7, he is a righty, and that is going to be a ground ball to second. The second baseman is Joe Morgan, little Joe Morgan, and he is a 1, and that is an 11. And I have to think that's probably an out. We have to go to his air rating, and his air rating is a 17. So we'll roll the dice. That is a 5 on a 17 in the air rating at second. And it is an E1. So Joe Morgan makes an error. He bobbles the ball, and the bases are loaded. And that brings up Woody Fryman, unfortunately. So they will take Woody Fryman out because they have got to have a run right here. I mean, this is a potentially key point in the ball game, and they don't want to blow this chance. This might be their only chance. They don't want to blow it, and they're going to pinch hit Jerry White. Jerry White is a switch hitter, so he will be batting left against Billingham. And he gets a 6-8. That versus lefty is a fly ball center field. So Jerry White gets an out. And the Expos failed to score. They came very close. They came really, really close, but they didn't do it. And so now we will need a new pitcher for the Expos. Fryman is out. And they will bring in Dale Murray. Dale Murray is a right-handed pitcher, and George Foster is the batter. George Foster coming up for the Reds here in the third. 2-0 lead for the Big Red Machine. He gets a 6-12. He is a right-handed batter, batting against a right-handed pitcher. And that's going to be a fly ball to left field. The left fielder is Del Unser. He is a 2. That is a 12. I'm going to guess that it'll be an out one way or the other, whether we check the air rating or not. We do have to check the air rating, and Unser is an error 4. So we'll roll the dice. That's an 8. Error 4, 8 is going to be a fly ball B. So that's a fly out for Foster here in the third to lead off the third for the Red Machine. And the batter is Tony Perez. He gets a 3-12. That's a hit by pitch plus injury, but the injury is only temporary. He'll stay in the game. But he does go to first base. So there's a base runner. And Bill Plummer, the replacement catcher for Bench, who was injured, gets a 4-11. He is a right-handed batter. And that's going to be a ground ball B. And so now Plummer is on first. And that brings up Dave Concepcion. And he gets a 2-7. And against a right-handed pitcher, that's a strikeout. So the Reds go down again. Still only 2-0 after 2.5 innings, with the Expos coming up. Ellis Valentine gets a 7, 1-7 against a righty, and that is going to be a fly ball center field B. And that was the leadoff hitter, Valentine. That brings up Wayne Garrett. Wayne Garrett gets a 2-6 against a righty, and that is going to be a pop out to first base. And with 2 down, you got Andre Thornton up, and he gets a 2-7 against a righty as a ground ball shortstop. And the Expos get no runs there. We go to the top of the fourth. It's 2-0. And Jack Billingham is the batter again for the Reds, for the Big Red Machine here. He gets a 1-6, and that's going to be a strikeout. He's been up twice, struck out twice, but he is pitching a shutout so far. Cesar Geronimo comes up, gets a 5-11, left-handed batter against a right-handed pitcher. And that is going to be a ground ball to first base. The first baseman for the Expos is Earl Williams. That is he's a 4. That's a 13. Let's see what that gets us. A lot of X charts. All right, we're going to have to check the air rating. He is an air 24, so we'll roll the dice. It's a 7 on a 24. And it is an E1. So Earl Williams makes an error, which allows Geronimo to reach base. And Pete Rose to be the batter with 1 down and a man at first. 4-8, he is a switch hitter. He would be batting left. And that's going to be a fly ball center field B. So there's 2 down now, and Ken Griffey out. And Ken Griffey gets a 6-7. And a 6-7 lefty against the righty is going to be a single-double asterisk. And now the Reds have a scoring threat going here with runners at the corners and Joe Morgan up, but 2 out. And a 3-2 is going to be a ground ball first base, and that is going to be the end of the inning. So no runs come in the fourth for the Red Machine, the Big Red Machine, and it is still 2-0. And Earl Williams is up for the Expos. He gets a 3-5, which is a strikeout, 1 away. Bottom of the fourth, 1 out. Nobody on. Larry Parrish. Larry Parrish gets a 3-9. He is batting against a right-handed pitcher, and that's going to be a ground ball to the shortstop. And that brings up Del Unser. Del Unser with a 5-6, a left-handed batter, and that is going to be a ground ball, second base A. No runs for the Expos. They're being shut out by Billingham. We go to the top of the 5th, where it is 2-0 Reds. And George Foster is the new batter. He gets a 4-10. He is a righty going up against a righty. And that is going to be a ground ball shortstop. The shortstop for the Expos is a 2. Shortstop 2, that's Foley. 18, that may be an out. And it is. So Foster is out to lead off the 5th inning. And Tony Perez is up. It's a 2-5, and that's going to be a single. 2-5 is a single for Perez. They have a hit, and they will bring up Bill Plummer. Again, Plummer replacing Bench, who was injured in the 1st inning, I believe. And that is a 3-10. 3-10 against a right-handed pitcher is a strikeout. Plummer with the K, there's 2 down and a man at first. And Dave Concepcion, the shortstop, is up. That's a 1-7. That's going to be a single. But it is a split single, a partial single. That's what the word I was looking for, a split single. So the runner cannot go to third, and that brings up Billingham. And Billingham gets a 4-12. He is a right-handed batter, and that is going to be a walk. They walk the pitcher. And now the bases are loaded with 2 down, and Cesar Geronimo up. He gets a 6-11. He is a left-handed batter, and that is going to be a ground ball to first base. So they threaten, the Reds, the big red machine threatens in the 5th, but they come away with nothing. They still only have a 2-0 lead. So for a game that was supposed to be a lopsided blowout, the Expos are really technically still in this. Tim Foley is the batter. He gets a 5-6, and that is going to be a line out to shortstop. Now, I would say that, except that if you were to look at these cards and see these batters, you know that there's really not much of a chance they're going to get 2 runs. But, I mean, they probably did in real life, so let's see what can happen. 4-6, he's a right-handed batter, and that is going to be a ground ball to the shortstop. Barry Foote grounds out, which gives way to Murray, and they will pinch hit for Dale Murray because, again, they need any runs they can get, and plus Murray has pitched already 2 or 3 innings, so he is probably just about running down. They are going to pinch hit Gary Renicky in this position with 2 down, and he gets a 5-7. He is a right-handed batter, and that is going to be a strikeout. And so Gary Renicky strikes out. I do have the pitcher card in the right place, and so we will take Dale Murray out of the game. He is being relieved. He did a fine job while he was out there, though, and they're going to put in Steve Dunning. Steve Dunning in 1976 was 2-6 with a 4.14 earned run average in 91 innings. So he can go a little bit, and Pete Rose is going to be the first batter that he gets to face, which is a little harsh, but that's how it worked out. So Pete Rose is up with here in the top of the 6th, and that's a 6-10. He is a switch hitter, so he would be batting left, and that is going to be a fly ball to right. So Rose flies out, and he is really only 1 for 3 on the day, and he got on by an error additionally. Ken Griffey is up with 1 down. He gets a 3-2, and he is batting against a right-handed pitcher. And that's going to be a ground ball plus injury, and it's an 8. So he's going to be gone for at least a little bit of time. And we'll just put him off to the side here. So that's a second injury for the Reds. It's a good thing this is not, I'm not doing like a season, because they would be probably hobbled going forward. But a 6'8", Steve Dunning, Joe Morgan is a left-handed batter, and that is going to be a strikeout. But the Reds do have to replace Ken Griffey. And he was the right fielder. And they are going to replace him with Mike Lum. Mike Lum in 1976 batted .228 in 136 at-bats. He is a pretty good defensive left fielder, though. He's a left field, too. And he will replace Griffey. And the Expos will come up and try to get 2 runs to tie the game, or even 1 run and get a little closer here in the bottom of the 6th with Ellis Valentine at the top of the order. 6'5", he is a righty against a righty. That is going to be a ground ball shortstop. The shortstop is Concepcion. He is a shortstop 1. I would expect that to be an out, and it is. So Ellis Valentine is out. Which brings up Wayne Garrett. He gets a 4.11. He is a left-handed batter, and that's going to be a walk. So Garrett gets aboard with a walk. Let's see if they can turn that into anything with Andre Thornton up. He gets a 3.10 against a right-hander, and that is going to be a home run. So that is a 2-run homer for Andre Thornton, and it ties the game. Unbelievable. So the Reds were in charge, but now they're not, and they have 2 key injuries that they have to contend with in a tie game, with Earl Williams up, and only 1 out so far. And that is a 6'4", 6'4". He's a righty. That's going to be a ground ball shortstop. He is a 1. That is a 16. I believe that's likely an out, and it is. And that brings up Larry Parrish. Larry Parrish with the 6'7". He is a right-handed batter, and that is going to be a ground ball second base X. The second baseman is Morgan. He is a 1. That is a 9. I would expect similarly. No, we got to go to the air rating. So the air rating for Morgan is a 17. We'll roll the dice. It's a 2. So E17, he's already made an error this game. And that is going to be his second error. So he makes an error, and there's another runner aboard. Let's see here. Yeah, that's the first runner. He's on by an error, and Larry Parrish was the guy that got on by the error, and so now Del Unser is up. And he gets a 1-9, and a 1-9, he's batting left against a righty, and that's going to be a strikeout. But the Expos do tie the game. We have a 2-2 tie going to the top of the 7th. The Big Red Machine not blowing the Expos out, as expected. And George Foster is the batter here in the top of the 7th. He gets a 2-7 against a right-handed pitcher, and that's going to be a fly ball to the center fielder. Foster flies out, which gives way to Tony Perez. Tony Perez gets a 4-3 against and he is a right-handed batter. That's going to be a fly ball right. The right fielder for the Expos is Thornton, who's a 4. That is an 18 and a 4 in right field. And that is going to be a single. So they do have a man aboard with Bill Plummer, the replacement for Johnny Bench, with 1 out, 1 on. That is a 4-5. He is a righty, and that's going to be a strikeout. And that brings up Concepcion Dave. Concepcion, the shortstop, with 2 down. And that is a 6-9. He is a righty. And that's going to be a walk. 2 on with 2 outs. Billingham up. They're going to pinch hit for Billingham. The Reds will. They do not want to lose this game. That would be embarrassing. So they are going to pinch hit. They're going to pinch hit Ed Armbrister. He hit .295 in 1976 and 78 at bats. And he gets a 6-7. He is a righty against a righty, and that is going to be a strikeout. Armbrister strikes out, pinch hitting. And that means we need another pitcher for the Reds. Billingham out of the game as he got pinch hit 4 in the 7th. He did pitch well. He only allowed 2 runs on the home run, by Andre Thornton. But it was enough to tie the game because this big red machine, scoring machine, has not been a scoring machine. They're going to put in Pedro Bourbon. In 1976, Bourbon was 4-3 with a .335 earned run average on 121 innings, all in relief. And he's going to go up against the shortstop for the Expos, and that is Tim Foley. And Tim Foley gets a 6-10. 6-10 for a righty against the righty. Here is a fly ball to center field X. The center fielder is Geronimo. He is a 1. That is a 5. I'm going to have to guess that's probably an out. And it is. So Foley flies out here to lead off the 7th. And that brings up Barry Foote. And Barry Foote gets a 5-10. 5-10, righty on righty. That is going to be a possible base hit. And it is. It is a ballpark single and a base hit for Barry Foote. The Expos have a man aboard. And the pitcher is up, so they will again pinch hit. Now, of course, the Expos didn't have a good starting lineup. And they also didn't have a lot of good hitters. Some of their future good hitters, like Andre Dawson and Gary Carter, were very young and weren't good yet. They hadn't come into their own. So they're going to pinch hit Jose Morales. Now, Jose Morales is a good hitter. In 1976, he hit .316 in 158 at bats. And he is going to bat against Bourbon right here. And he gets a 6-8. He is a righty on a righty, and that is going to be a triple and knock in the go-ahead run. That's just crazy. Craziness. There is still only 1 out, and there's a man 90 feet away. The Reds are going to bring the infield in. They're forced to bring the infield in with that after that big pinch hit. And Ellis Valentine at the plate. And he gets a 5-10. He is a righty. And that's going to be a possible infield base hit. He is a righty, though, and I don't think that that's going to be. No, it is not. So it is a line out to second base. And Wayne Garrett is up now with 2 down. A man 90 feet away. The infield will go back. And that is a 3-9. 3-9 against a righty. That's a pop out to second. But they do strike for a run, the Expos do, and now we go to the bottom of the 8th. And there has to be a new pitcher, of course, for the Expos, because they did pinch hit for Dunning. And they are going to bring in, they're going to bring in Chip Lang. Chip Lang will be the new pitcher. In 1976, Chip Lang was 1-3 with a .419 earned run average in 62 innings pitched. So even he did pitch some substantial time, but we're going to the top of the 8th right now with the Reds down 3-2. And Cesar Geronimo up. He gets a 1-7, and that is going to be a strikeout. Which brings up Pete Rose. Pete Rose gets a 1-8, and that is going to be a single. Pete Rose with his second hit of the game. And Mike Lum. Mike Lum, replacing the injured Griffey, gets a 3-4 against a righty, and that is going to be a single. It is a split single, though, so the runner only goes one base. Rose can only advance one base. But they have 2 on with only 1 out, and Joe Morgan up. And Joe Morgan gets a 3-2 against a righty, and that is going to be a ground ball B. Joe Morgan is at first. The runner advances to third. There's 2 down now, though. And George Foster up. And he gets a 5-5 against a righty, and that's going to be a ground ball shortstop. And the Big Red Machine is only going to have, they just got no runs there in the 8th. So they're only going to have one more shot at this as the Expos step up against Pedro Borbon. And they're going to send up Andre Thornton is the first batter. And he gets a 2-4 against a righty. That's going to be a walk. So the Expos are trying to show that this is really not a blowout game. Earl Williams gets a 2-10 against a righty. That's going to be a single. That was a split single, 1-4, and they rolled a 3, so he's got a single. First 2 guys are on with Larry Parrish up. Borbon is handed it all away. And that's going to be a ground ball, third base double play. But the runner advances to third, and there's 2 down. With Del Unser. Del Unser is up. And he gets 3-6, and that is going to be a pop out. Pop out! So they escape real trouble there. Let's see. Yeah, they escape real trouble. But the Reds have to have a tying run here at least, with Tony Perez the batter here in the 9th. And that's a 5-6. He's a righty, and that's going to be a fly ball center field B. 1 away. The Expos are that close. Bill Plummer is up 6-3, and that's going to be a fly ball to the right fielder. The right fielder for the Expos is Thornton. He is a 4. That is a 3. That's a 3 and a 4. That's going to be that's a bad combination. That is going to be a single. Well, it's just a single. 1 down, 1 on. Concepcion is up. He gets a 5-9. And that is going to be a triple 1-4. And it is. That's a triple, and it knocks in the run. And now the Expos have to bring the infield in. And the pitcher is up. They will, of course, pinch hit for him. That's not even a thought. And they're going to pinch hit Dan Dreesen in this particular spot. That is a 5-9, and that is going to be, he is a lefty. That is going to be a fly ball B, but that's going to score the go-ahead run. And that's 2 down, and then Geronimo up. 5-7, and that's a strikeout. So Geronimo is out, but the Reds scored 2 runs and in the top of the 9th, and they take a 4-3 lead. And Tim Foley will be the batter for the Expos here against, they're going to take, you know what, they're going to take Pedro Borbon out. They've seen enough of Pedro Borbon. He almost handed the game away, so they're going to bring in Raleigh Eastwick. And in 1976, Raleigh Eastwick was 11-5 with a 209 earned run average and 108 innings pitched, all in relief. And Tim Foley is going to get the face in first. He gets a 6-9. He is a righty on a righty. That is going to be a ground ball shortstop. There's 1 down. Barry Foote is up. He gets a 5-8. That is going to be a ground ball to second. He's a 1. That is a 4. Probably going to be an out. Second base, 4-1. That is an out. And that brings up the pitcher. And, of course, they are going to pinch hit. And the pinch hitter is going to be the aforementioned Andre Dawson, although he only hit .235 in 1976. Might have been a rookie, but that's a 6-6 on a righty-righty matchup, and that's going to be a single. So Andre Dawson does get a single to keep the Expos alive. And that is going to bring to the plate Ellis Valentine. And Ellis Valentine gets a 6-5. That's going to be a single double asterisk. So 2 down. Runners are at the corners. The Expos not dead yet. Wayne Garrett up. Wayne Garrett gets a 4-11. He is a righty. Or no, he's a lefty. So 4-11. That's a walk to load the bases. The bases are full. Raleigh Eastwick trying to hand the game back again. Andre Thornton gets a 4-8, and he is a righty, and that's going to be a strikeout, and that finally ends it with the bases loaded. The Expos were that close, but they didn't do it. And the final score is the Reds 4, the Expos 3, in what should have been a much worse game than that. And that is going to be it for me, Sportsman Z, Bob Zolke, signing off.